What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Top of the Key. This is episode 7. I'm your host, Sai Balabadra Patruni, also known as the Beard 2.0. We got a wonderful episode for you today. We have a very special guest. We got my boy Nikhil Kanukolanu in the house today. Nikhil, how's it going, man?
Dude, I'm doing pretty solid and looking forward to this. It's been a while since I've been able to talk about sports with anybody, so I'm pretty excited.
Well, we love to talk about sports here on Top of the Key. Just a reminder to all the fans and viewers out there, all 7 of you. I just want to give a big reminder to like the video, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. Just show your support. Leave some feedback in the comment section. Tell me how much you might like this podcast, how much you hate it, how much you hate me. Death threats are welcome too. I've never gotten those before. Those can be fun sometimes. Just whatever you want, really. But we're gonna start things off hot. We're gonna just reel you guys in here, and Nikhil's gonna give us his very first hot take.
All right, here we go. So obviously there's been a lot of news about Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski with the Bucs this year. And I'm telling you right now, this will be the biggest bust of, honestly, they might be the worst team in the NFL. They are going to finish last in the NFC South. I feel like they're just not going to make it happen. Obviously all this hype around Tom Brady coming back. I mean, he's old. This is going to be his worst season so far in the NFL. So, Drew Brees, on the other hand, speaking of the same division, he's going to, he's getting up there too, like 37, 38 or something. And I think that we're going to see his best season, and they're going to have a deep playoff run this season.
Wow. Actually, one of my hot takes today is about the Bucs, and it's a very opposite sentiment because I actually have the Bucs winning the Super Bowl. So,
oh my goodness.
I've jumped completely on that bandwagon, dude. Look, I think they're just unbelievably talented. Like Tom Brady came from a situation in New England where they had pretty much no receiving threats. He really didn't have anyone to throw the ball to. It was like thrown to dumpsters. But look, he's got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, he's got Gronk now. He's got an offensive line. They just drafted Jedrick Wills or the other guy, Tristan Wirfs, in the first round. He's got some protection. This Bucs team could look pretty good, and I think with a guy with the experience of Tom Brady and the offensive firepower that the Bucs have, I think you're really underestimating the power of the Bucs this season. Tell me your reasoning. Tell me your reasoning.
Bucs have been notorious for, having a terrible offensive line, for the last 4 or 5 years. And I feel like that's going to be where it, plays down. It's just like, I disagree. I don't think he's going to have the protection. I don't think Brady's going to be able to move in the pocket. I mean, even speaking about the offense, I don't think the Bucs have that same system and that experience, offensive coordinator and head coach. I just feel like it'll be tough. I mean, maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I think it's just going to be like another one of those Bucs seasons that we've seen for the last couple of years.
I would. The offensive line is still developing. I would put it at that. I think the Bucs had a good draft from an O-line perspective, but they got out and got like one of the strongest guys out there. But yeah, no, I definitely see where you're coming from with a struggling offensive line. Having a 42-year-old quarterback is very difficult.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's hopefully I get proven wrong because obviously I want to see them succeed. I don't remember the last time I've seen Tampa Bay even talked about, like when it comes to playoffs. So, I mean, their division is tough on its own. What is it, like Carolina, New Orleans, and what's the last?
Atlanta.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, dude. That's one of the toughest divisions. Like Carolina, obviously they're doing pretty solid. New Orleans is just coming off a strong playoffs run from last season. I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be insane to see them even finish second in that division, in my opinion.
Okay, I don't know about that. I think Carolina's going to be pretty bad this year.
You think so?
Yeah, dude, they just lost a lot of pieces, man. Like, I mean, on the defense especially, they lost a ton of guys. Luke Kuechly retiring, that doesn't really help you. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is going to come in and he's going to play great. I'm not too concerned about that, but he doesn't really have too many options to throw the ball to. The Panthers receiving core isn't very deep, so I mean, yeah, it's a tough division from the standpoint that the Saints have been so good for so long that the other teams really haven't made too much of a splash the last few seasons, but those are good games every year when those NFC South games, whenever they clash. But
yeah, absolutely. I think that'll be the division to watch.
But yeah, they'll be fun to watch. I think I'm gonna shift up my Tampa Bay hot take to my first hot take when we get there. But before we get to that, I just want to talk about some of the big stuff going on in the NFL. A lot of coronavirus cases jumping back up. It's like a second wave has already hit, pretty much. With the NBA having their bubble in Orlando, a lot of talk has come up on the NFL and how they'll be able to conduct their season, probably without fans, but how that would look. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think there needs to be a bubble in the NFL, and how do you think that would work?
I think first of all, it's going to be, well, yes, I think they do need a bubble, but it's going to be incredibly hard to, contain, especially, like NBA team or NFL teams are bigger, they have like 50 plus people on their roster. They have more personnel, and, contrasting to like the NBA teams, I feel like it's much easier to contain just because it's not as many people. And even though there aren't that many people in the NBA, you still, you were seeing new cases almost every day about, one like big player like gets a virus. And I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they're going to contain that. They definitely need that. And obviously they can't have fans in their stadiums if the season's going to start, at the regular time.
Yeah, I mean they just canceled all the preseason games, which honestly, like, that's fine. I don't really care about that. I don't think anybody does, but I mean, I think they're starting to try to cover their tracks and like try to give the smallest margin of error for someone to get the disease. But yeah, they're definitely gonna need a bubble. I don't see how else they would do it, but yeah, it would be tough. They got like 53 man rosters plus a lot of personnel, a lot of coaching staff.
Yeah.
As organizations, the NFL is just much larger. So yeah, I don't know where they would be able to first off fit that many players into one bubble. They'd probably need multiple bubbles, if anything, maybe an AFC, NFC bubble.
Yeah.
But look, the thing with the NBA that makes it easier is there's only 22 teams. There's only 8 regular season games, and it gets simpler after that. Like,
right.
You can have a couple games at the same time, and like two venues would be enough for the NBA playoffs. But for the NFL to do 16 regular season weeks,
yeah,
that's 17 weeks. That's tough. You can't there's not that many stadiums in one area to be able to really do that.
True. I mean, and like you said, it's the NBA, you see multiple games a week, and the season will be much quicker. I mean, a full NFL season, they can only play once a week, prone to more injuries and stuff. They need those breaks, but I don't know. They're gonna have to do something very different. Some sort of, I don't know, even if it's like a bubble system, we'll have to see. It'll be interesting.
And I think they'll figure something out. I think there's too much money to be money at risk to cancel the season, but
yeah.
I think they'll figure something out. But it was interesting. They said earlier this week that with everything going on in the world today, with the Black Lives Matter movement, they're going to be playing the Black National Anthem before every single game, week 1. Sort of controversial, but not really. Most people are supporting this, but obviously there are a lot of NFL fans who either want to keep politics out of sports or might be a little racist. You never know. But give me your thoughts on this. Is this the right move? Is the NFL doing something right? Are they trying to just kind of keep up with whatever's going on, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good decision. We see all these like big name NFL, NBA players who are using their platform to talk about this movement, and it's pretty big that I guess the NBA itself or the NFL itself is uh, I guess allowing them to use their platform and take it to the next level. Obviously, like you said, there's going to be a lot of people that don't like it, and I mean, I think most of these people, in my opinion, just don't understand the point, or like it's more than just like political. I think like um, I don't know, it's definitely a good decision, but yeah.
Um, yeah, no, it's definitely the right thing to do. But moving with that, this whole Redskins name change this week has come up a lot, and they're probably going to change the name after decades of people complaining about it.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
People have wanted this name change for a while, but yeah, like this is definitely. I feel like this is definitely the right time to be doing this. I mean, there's no better time than now. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on. First off, why do you think it's taken so long for this to happen? And second off, I just want to I want to have some fun with some brainstorming with some possible names.
Oh man, yeah. First, I'll be like you said. This has been something that's been like going on for decades, and uh, it's obviously I feel like it has something to do with like the Black Lives Matters movement, and it kind of sucks that this is what it takes for them to actually consider changing the name. With like all this traction, but that's the biggest thing. I feel like there have been those supporters, of people who wanted to change those names over the years, and up until now, I feel like no one has taken it seriously, and I'm glad that they're finally doing it. Um, but yeah, it's something that they needed to do, But all right, thinking about new names though, that's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, we heard. I was looking at some suggestions of like online, like the Hogs, or like the Red
Mhm.
Wings or something.
I like the Red Wings. I think the Red Wings could be cool, or like the Red Hawks, or like you could still keep red in it. What I don't like is some of the ideas around making it like the Washington presidents or senators or all. Like I think that's bullshit.
Wait, I haven't heard that one though. That's hilarious.
No, there's like a list of different just nationalistic type of names where it's like the presidents, the senators, the governors, the
What?
lieutenants.
It's so dumb.
Like I don't think this is the time to be changing the name to one of those types of things.
Yeah, like, seriously, that's pretty much like staying in the same. Like, it's gonna piss off a lot of people. They just need to come up with something neutral. I feel like.
Yeah, like one of the big names that was suggested that I saw was the Washington Senators. Like I don't see anyone getting excited about the Senators.
That doesn't. That's not even a good team name. Like, whoever came up with that, that's insane. But here, I actually just found some other ones online. The Red Tails, the Warriors, which might make sense, honestly.
There is some well, there was a Washington Warriors, but like that has some negative connotation with Native Americans as well.
Oh,
So
really?
they're probably not going to do that. Because there was a team, I think, called the Washington Warriors, and they still on their mascot was still like a feather or some
Yeah, that's
shit like
messed
that.
up. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I like you can keep it like something red. Keep the colors the same, but like
Yeah.
yeah, like I like Red Wings, red tails. That could be cool.
Wait, I actually see. Okay, I see some of the ones you came up with, but wait, some of these are like plus 300, plus 400 for actually be like betting odds for the next team name. Presidents, generals, Lincolns.
That's what I saw. Yeah,
Yeah, this is. Oh, my goodness.
the Washington Lincolns. Their mascot would just be a picture of Washington and Lincoln standing next.
Do you think this is something they're going to implement for this season that's coming up?
I think they're gonna want to. I think they're gonna try and move as rapidly as possible. They're gonna get a lot of backlash if they play as the Redskins now.
Right, 100%.
But it'll be fun to see. There's so many things going on with the NFL right now that are they're just like it's like now is the time for any sort of possible change. There's so much riding on it, so much support for the movements. So yeah, the Redskins got to change their name, man. It's a shame that they've had to wait this long to do it, but
Yeah.
I wanted to get into my first hot take, and let me give you what I think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady will pass for 5,000 yards this season.
Dude, oh my God, that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
He passed for 4,000 yards last year with trash cans and dumpster trucks as his receivers, and so I think with guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin might be like the best receiver tandem in the league.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's okay. If that happens, I mean, that's like imagine a veteran quarterback moving to a new team, and the first season he pops off like that. I mean, usually I feel like it takes time to get used to the system, get used to the offense, and like build that chemistry. So, I mean, hey, who knows? It might happen, but that would be Tom Brady making history again.
It's definitely an ambitious hot take. But realistically, I think they'll be a little slow in September. I think it'll take some time for Brady to really get the offense going. But little technical difficulties here. But yeah, I think it'll take a little time for Brady to get the offense going. And but I think he'll start to figure it out later on, for sure. But I wanted to get your thoughts on Cam Newton to the Patriots. That's a big deal right now. That's one of the big talking points of the NFL right now.
Right. Sure. First of all, the Patriots dynasty is over. I think Cam Newton will be a bust, and let me tell you why I think he's going to be a bust. Cam Newton likes to be the key player. The question is like if he can prove to be that system quarterback, that New England succeeds with. Like, is he going to fit the New England system that runs through, Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick? It'll be tough. I think he's a good quarterback. MVP contender, or he won the MVP, but I don't think he's going to fit with the New England New England offense. And he's not going to be that system quarterback. Yeah, I think he's going to be a bust, and the Patriots might not even win the division this year. Maybe that's another hot take, but
I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think I actually have the Patriots being fourth in the division. I think they're going to get last place.
Really?
I think the other three teams are just all getting a little better. I think New England's on the downturn, but I will say this: I love the move. I think Cam to the Patriots, I think, is an absolute win for New England. Like I just don't see any real there's nothing negative about it. Just because they got him for a very good deal. They didn't have to pay too much money to get him. Second of all, let's look at it from the from everything goes right type of perspective. Cam's the type of guy, if he's healthy, first of all, that's going to be the biggest question mark. Can Cam Newton stay healthy? But if he can stay healthy and he plays at a high level, he can do everything. He can run, he can pass. In New England, last couple of years when Brady was getting older and they didn't have as many receiving threats, they relied on the run game a lot. I see a lot of different packages where they use Cam Newton in the running game. I think you got a lot of option type of plays. I think Josh McDaniels can use him properly. And if guys like Edelman and Sanu, in the twilight of their receiving careers, can kind of put it together a couple more times, he's got a great arm as well. So, and he's got a lot of experience. So I think it's definitely a benefit for New England. Who Jared Stidham's clearly not the answer right now. I think that's what they realized, and then that's probably why they got Newton in the first place. But the other way I look at it is if things don't work out properly, Cam's not healthy, Cam's not playing well, or as well as he could be, and they're not winning as much. Look, I see Jared Stidham as a guy who the Patriots kind of believed in him. That's why they thought he was going to be the starting quarterback this year. I think Cam's definitely going to be the starting quarterback now. I mean, looking at this picture, the quarterback situation in New England, like at the end of the day, you have a great guy for Jared Stidham to sit behind and learn. You know, like you got a guy who has a lot of experience. He's an MVP.
Right.
You know, I think it's a win-win for everyone. I don't really see this as New England really losing much.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I feel like the biggest thing, more than just Cam like himself. Obviously, like you said, he's got to stay healthy. He's got to build that chemistry. But the system itself, I feel like needs to change a lot. Like for forever, I guess Tom Brady, they had that system where he's pretty much a pocket quarterback. You don't see him moving out of the pocket too much. You don't see him running. Usually, we see a strong Patriots offensive line to support that. And if we can see all of those, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, he might shine, but yeah, they're going to have to change up the packages. They're going to have to change up the offense a bunch. And you're right, he can be good on his feet, and it's pretty much the polar opposite of Tom Brady. He likes to be on his feet a lot. He likes to run with the ball. He likes to get out of the pocket. So yeah, we're gonna have to see. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, you kind of hit the nail on the head with about the system. I think Belichick still thinks his system will work to perfection. With you got to have a great defense, great offensive line, and then everything will kind of work its way out.
Right.
But you're forgetting the fact that you had the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
You had Tom Brady, and that helped a lot. You wouldn't have won nearly as maybe you still would have won, but you would not have won even close to 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without him. So it's going to be really tough. Look, the Bills I think are just going to dominate that division this year.
What do you think about the Jets though? It's your team, bro.
I'm looking at second place. I think it's still tough. I think they're getting better. I think they're definitely getting better. It's just so many front office issues right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
With Jamal Adams and everything going on there. Obviously, I'd love to keep Jamal Adams, but we'll see what happens. But I think Darnold's great. I love me some Sammy D. But I think the Bills are just too good this year. But I have the Jets on as a fringe playoffs 8 seed type of it. If there was an 8 seed.
That'll be exciting to see. When was the last time they even made playoffs?
It was 2010, I believe. We made the back-to-back AFC Championship games, and then we did not make a playoffs ever since.
Wait, who was on that team? Was it Mark Sanchez?
It was Mark Sanchez. LaDainian Tomlinson was our running back that year. We had Darrelle Revis, Bart Scott. Some great guys. Antonio Cromartie.
Oh man, that was a long time ago.
That was a good team. Yeah, it was like 10 years ago, but that's when I really got hooked on the Jets, and they have not given me anything since. But
yeah,
but I think they could be a little better this year. But that's enough about my team, whose expectations are really not very high. But let's talk about your team, whose expectations are the highest. You're a Chiefs fan coming off of the big Super Bowl victory. You gotta be ecstatic right now. Looking forward to this potential. This is the time for a potential dynasty here.
Oh man, dude, let me tell you. All right, like I've lived in Kansas City for the last 15 years, and I've been through hell being a Chiefs fan. Like a bunch of no-name quarterbacks, a bunch of 3-4 win seasons, and then. Oh man, like I still don't believe it. You see people saying, the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. Like just those words are just, I just can't believe it. And yeah, I really hope this does become the next dynasty. A lot of times you see a team winning the NFL or winning the Super Bowl, and then I feel like at that point, mentality is the biggest thing, right? Like you need those. We still have those same key players. There wasn't too many like roster changes. Everyone kind of has to be on the same page, and if, oh my God, I mean, we'll see, man. I think the Chiefs, again, obviously, I think they're going to win the division. I mean, at this point, the AFC West is not too strong. I feel like as like compared to past years, AFC West was like arguably the toughest division to play in. But I I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm hoping for another 12, 13 win season. We're gonna see them in the Super Bowl again, hopefully. Back to back might happen, but yeah, dude, it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I think very few teams can beat the Chiefs in the AFC. I think. I mean, you got the Ravens. You got. I'm putting my. You got the Ravens. You got maybe the Colts look like they could be okay, better this year. I'm gonna throw the Bills into that conversation just because I think the Bills are gonna be really good. But yeah, I don't think anyone in the West can stop you guys. The Raiders are still in a very, very slow rebuild that is really, really not getting any faster anytime soon. Chargers kind of lost everything last year. I mean, they were amazing a couple years ago. They were really challenging you guys for the top spot. I think the only team that's really gonna maybe give you some headaches are the Broncos this year. I think they're gonna be a lot better this year.
Yeah. I was actually tuning into your last podcast, or maybe like 2 episodes ago or something. You were talking about how Drew Lock is the franchise quarterback. Do you think he's a difference maker? Do you think he's a good fit for the Broncos?
No, well, I think my guest that week talked about how Drew Lock was a franchise quarterback.
Right.
I am not there yet. I haven't seen enough. You know, we always have these young guys who come in and replace a veteran quarterback halfway through the year and like kind of start playing really well, rejuvenate the fans for the rest of the season. But look, Drew Lock came in when there was nothing Broncos fans were excited about that season. There were no expectations, there was no pressure. When you're a young quarterback, you come into a new season and you have more expectations. You have people expect more from you. It's gonna be tough. I haven't seen enough from him, so I'm not there. I think we have to pump the brakes a little bit on Drew Lock. I just think I think he's competent enough to manage the offense. I just think that the defense is back healthy. Bradley Chubb and Von Miller is going to be an incredible duo this year. But I think the Broncos will be good. It does come down to Drew Lock. But look, they gave him Jerry Jeudy. Like there's some optimism around the Broncos this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I definitely see the Chiefs. I see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. I think you guys are the only team that can get away with having an okay defense.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it was last season. Like the first 5 or 6 weeks, that's pretty much what I saw. I mean, we were just blowing teams away with putting up big numbers on the offense, but there were so many close games. You know what I mean? Like our defense, it got stronger, obviously, through the season, but we were playing like whenever we play the big teams, even if we put up like 30 points, we would see them putting up 30 points as well. You know, it's but yeah, I guess we did get away with a lot on defense, just because our offense is obviously the best offense in the NFL. You know, it's been like that, I think, the last 2 seasons.
It's not close.
Yeah, but
I mean, when you got a guy like the thing is, Mahomes just can make stuff happen at the end of games that like nobody really else can.
Oh yeah.
And that's why you can get away with other teams scoring a lot of points, because sure, they can score a lot of points, but Mahomes is still going to give you one more drive. Like he's unstoppable.
Oh man, yeah. Like just talking about the playoffs last season, they were playing from behind every game, through the playoffs. Especially that game against Houston. We were down like 21-0 at the first quarter.
24-0. Yeah.
Oh, see, that's the thing, dude. Like I feel like the mentality at that point must be like their morale must be destroyed, and that's what Mahomes offers. He's obviously a leader. He's obviously, he pumps up the offense. He hypes everybody up. He's good on the sideline, and that's huge. And obviously, he backs it up on the field. He still surprises me.
Yeah, I think he's an out of this world type of talent, and it's always funny because back at school, I got a very good friend who's a huge Bears fan, We always give him shit for the Bears passing up on Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes for Mitch Trubisky.
I can't believe it. You know, to be honest, when we drafted Patrick Mahomes from Texas Tech, I haven't heard of him like at all. Like I pay attention like pretty much the bare minimum of college football. But when we drafted him, I expected him to just be the backup for most of his career. You know, like he wasn't too you know he didn't surprise me when it came to like the training camps and stuff. But I guess Andy Reid trusted him, and thank God for Andy Reid. Honestly, I'm glad he finally got a Super Bowl. You know.
Finally got his ring, man. He deserves it. He's one of the best to ever do it. So, Andy Reid deserves everything he gets. I think the Chiefs are clearly the front runners to repeat. It'll be interesting to see. But with that, I wanted to get your like early AFC Championship, NFC Championship, Super Bowl predictions.
Let's see. I should write these down. So obviously, coming from the AFC, I think it's going to be Kansas City. And the second spot, it's tough. You know, I feel like KC is pretty much a front runner for the AFC. I think they're just going to win it all. But we might see Baltimore up there again. Who knows? The Patriots might surprise us. But you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to go with Kansas City, Baltimore again for the AFC Championship. I feel like it's pretty safe from my side, but honestly, I don't really see a lot of other teams, you know, exceeding expectations. I feel like Baltimore, they had a monster regular season last season. They blew through the AFC North, and I think it's going to be similar again, you know. So yeah, AFC, I think it's going to be Kansas City, Baltimore. And NFC, though, there's a lot more teams I feel like that can be good. You know, obviously we see Seattle. I think Seattle's going to win NFC West. I think Russell Wilson's going to have a huge season. They're going to win the NFC West. So I think it'll be Seattle. Oh man, I'm looking at the standings right now, and it's tough. It might be somebody. It might be like Packers or no, never mind. No, it'll be Saints. I was talking about this earlier. Yeah, I think it's going to be Saints and Seattle. Seahawks and Saints. And we talked about the Super Bowl earlier, or soon, don't we? But yeah, that's what I'm going to lock in. I think I'm going to go with Seattle, New Orleans, and then in the AFC, Kansas City and Baltimore.
And then in the Super Bowl?
Oh, okay. Honestly, I want to see Seattle in the Super Bowl, but at the same time, I love Drew Brees. You know, I have a soft spot for him. I feel like he's still one of the best. You know, he's he's always been one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. He's had a bunch of great seasons. He got unlucky. I feel like last season oh man, I really wanted to see them in the Super Bowl against Kansas City. So I think that'll be a really close game, that NFC Championship game between Saints and Seattle. But I'm gonna go with New Orleans. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Kansas City versus New Orleans.
That would be a juggernaut of a Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely.
I got and I've said this on previous podcasts as well, but I NFC Championship, I got Seahawks Bucks. I got the Bucks over the Seahawks.
Oh my god.
Going to the Super Bowl. And then AFC, I got Chiefs over Buffalo. I got Buffalo in the AFC Championship. And then I think the Bucks take out the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, first of all, talking about the AFC Championship, seeing Buffalo go that far, I think that'll be interesting. You know, I don't really see the hype that you have on the Bills right now, but who knows, man? I mean,
I just think I think they'll win the East, and I think they're unbelievably underrated. They've got like one of the best defenses in the league right now, and they're only getting better. They drafted Epinesa out of I don't know what the fuck school he went to, but he's good. But he look, there isn't the AFC is obviously less talented than the NFC. There's a lot of question marks around a lot of these contender types of teams like Cleveland, Houston, even Indianapolis a little bit.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen's only getting better. Now you got a deep threat in Stephon Diggs. And last year they only threw the ball very short. They didn't let Josh Allen really rip it, and he's got a cannon of an arm, and Stephon Diggs is a great deep threat. So,
Yeah.
look, I think this team's gonna be very good, but yeah, I think you and I are both pretty much in agreement about the Chiefs are gonna be in the Super Bowl. I think, and
Absolutely, man. They're gonna have to. I don't know. It's their year again. The AFC, like we were talking about, I don't think it's as strong. I feel like. Actually, sidetrack. Yeah, I want to talk about the AFC South for a little bit. Do you think the Texans and Titans are still going to be top of that division?
I think they'll be in the top of the division because I think it's a weaker division, but
No.
I don't think they'll be as good as they were last year or even the year before. I think with the Texans, I think Bill O'Brien is the most incompetent coach and front office guy in the league.
God, who does that, dude? First of all, like he's arguably like 1 and 2, probably the best receiver in the league. You know, like
Yeah.
oh my goodness, DeAndre Hopkins.
He gave him up for chump change, pretty much. I mean,
So dumb.
Look, and their defense has gotten progressively worse every year. Their secondary is garbage.
Yep.
I mean, they got rid of Jadeveon Clowney, and J.J. Watt is old now. Like,
Oh man, he
it's
still
just
surprised
not
me.
looking
You know,
good.
like
And,
obviously,
I mean, what are you saying?
I was talking about J.J. Watt. He still surprises me. You know, obviously he's had trouble staying healthy, but you know, yeah. Go on. Sorry.
No, exactly. He's had so many injuries, and I feel like every time they're in the postseason, he's not playing, which is tough. But look, Deshaun Watson's great. They have a great future because the quarterback's position solidified. But the fact that Houston made Bill O'Brien their GM is a garbage move, I think. And when you look at Tennessee on the other side, I think I think Derrick Henry's the best running back in the league. I think he's going to really solidify that this year. I think Ryan Tannehill showed great sparks last year, but again, they're just sparks. If you look at some of these games last year that they played, he threw for like 70, 80 yards. Like,
Oh yeah.
he's not the answer, I don't think.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, I feel like they have their own like unique system. You know, like you said, Derrick Henry. I agree with you. I think he's probably the best running back in the league. The thing is though, they rely too much on him. They put like 40, 50 carries on him some games, and Tannehill throws the ball like 6 or 7 times. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll work out. I think teams are going to start figuring it out. I mean, there's a lot of teams that have good run defense, and well, we'll have to see. You know, they can't rely too much on Derrick Henry. You know what I mean?
No, they definitely can't. But the thing is that they can get like 200-yard games out of him every now and then, and that's he's unstoppable. But you can't just make him your entire offense.
Right.
And that's kind of what I also see when you were talking about defenses being able to figure the offense out. That's kind of what I see with Baltimore a little bit too. I think defenses are gonna start figuring out what Lamar's up to and his schemes and all that. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Moving on though, I wanted you to give us your second hot take.
Okay. So this is where I have trouble thinking of one. But do you want to switch over to talking about the NBA now? I guess we're going to talk about that soon, right?
Yeah. Let's go NBA.
All right. So speaking of NBA, man, first of all, I think I'm extremely excited for the playoffs this season. I feel like there are so many teams that can contend, you know, go far in the playoffs. I'm excited to see teams we haven't seen before, you know. Like we're not going to see the Warriors, thank God, you know.
Thank God, man. Oh, it's gonna be so fun.
Yeah, it's going to be, I don't know. Let's see. So my hot take, I think the Bucks, they're going to win. Obviously, they're going to win the division, but I think they're going to bust early in the NBA playoffs. I feel like the Bucks are a solid team. Looking at playoffs runs from previous seasons, I just don't know if they can play those 7-game series. Just looking at the NBA standings right now.
How early are we talking?
I'm talking second round. I think they're going to lose in the second round.
Okay. I don't. Yeah, I don't completely agree with you, but I don't hate the take.
Hmm. I just feel like. Hold on, one sec.
They would be slated to play the Heat or the Pacers in the second round.
Yeah, and speaking of the Heat, though, the Heat are like looking extremely good. They've surprised me. Jimmy Butler, he's had a fantastic regular season.
Adebayo is a monster.
Yeah, and even let's talk about the Sixers. The 76ers, they have not had good playoffs runs. They usually they struggle with having healthy players, but I feel like this is the season they're really gonna step up. I think they're gonna have a huge playoffs, and we might see the Sixers over the Bucks. Obviously that's like a huge upset, but I think it's gonna happen. I think the Bucks are gonna bust.
That's a big take. I don't have the Bucks going to the NBA Finals, but I have them losing in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I don't hate it. Right now the Celtics are slated to play the Sixers. That could obviously change with the regular season games. But the Heat could pose a threat to the Bucks. I mean, look, we've seen it like in the regular season. They're unstoppable because Giannis is unstoppable, and no one's gonna put their life on the line to guard Giannis in the regular
Absolutely,
season.
yeah.
But in the playoffs, man, we saw it in the Raptors series last year. They flooded the paint with guys like Ibaka, Gasol, and all their big men, and they're able to stop Giannis. And with the Bucks, if you make Giannis pass it out to somebody else and shoot a three, you when you force the Bucks to beat you, the supporting cast to beat you, then it gets very tough for Milwaukee to win. And I think in order for them to win a championship, guys like, first of all, Middleton needs to play like a second best player on a championship team and average like 25 points a game. And guys like Bledsoe need to show up. Lopez, these guys in the supporting cast have to play out of their mind. And this is why it's so tough in the NBA for a team with one superstar to win a championship.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I feel like speaking about the Celtics, you were talking about the Celtics earlier. I feel like they're gonna have their best playoffs run yet. I've been waiting for the Celtics to step up in the playoffs, and honestly, I see Celtics going all the way to the finals this season. I feel like.
I got that too.
What'd you say?
I have that too.
I mean, of course you do, right? I mean, this is coming from an unbiased perspective. I feel like the Celtics, we're gonna see them go all the way. Maybe the old Celtics-Lakers rivalry might be back, but I'm excited. I think that's Celtics are gonna be a team to watch in the playoffs.
For sure. I like that. I love that take. But we'll get to the NBA in just a second. But we got a quick break in the action for a quick fun new segment that we have on the show. Where we thought it'd be fun to, explore some of the other sports that are out there, if you count them as sports. But this is a new segment I'd like to call Bowling with Niamh. I have my good friend Niamh Dillon talking about bowling. Enjoy.
What's up, Top of the Key podcast? Thank you, Sai, for having me. My name is Niamh, and I'm here to talk about the greatest sport known to man. That is bowling. It's one of the greatest things to come out of the human race. I am a seasoned bowler myself. I have bowled competitively for 4 years. 2 of those years I was the captain of the bowling team. So if you too are a seasoned bowler, I recommend you take those opportunities for leadership, because you never know. You could be captain too and tell people that you are captain of the bowling team and gain such respect in whatever community you decide to share that with. Speaking from experience, whenever I tell somebody that I was the captain of the bowling team, they automatically really understand the kind of person I am, which is powerful and, detail oriented and passionate. So, I recommend it. Anyways, as I said, I'm a seasoned bowler. I think I made that pretty clear. But I would love to share my techniques and skills with you guys, some secrets of getting your form right and, getting those spares, getting those strikes, and picking up the scraps on your second round of bowling so you can get those corner pins. Do I get those every time? No. But I know how to get them. It's just my execution sometimes does not match up. But anyways, I thought it would be a good idea to start off with a little history lesson, a quick fun fact to get the foundation set for bowling. So for future reference, you just have a cool fun fact to pull out at the very least. So I pulled this fun fact from pinchasers.net. If you are a bowler yourself, and you haven't heard of this website, I couldn't recommend it more. I refer to it on the daily. This article is actually weird but true. Bowling's fun facts. Really, it's a really grabbing article. But the fun fact is, it was all no girls allowed. The American Bowling Congress was gentlemen's clubs, so no ladies allowed. And it wasn't until 1917 when women got their own governing body, the Women's National Bowling Association. So give a hand for the ladies, because without them, I would not be the human being that I am today. The future is female. They knew it. We know it. And I'm really excited and just happy to know that with the women of bowling, we're just as progressive as the women of today are. I think it really tells you something about the sport. So that's all I have today. Thank you again, Sai. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the podcast. Great things come from it. So, I mean, I just filmed a whole bowling segment on it, so I'm sure the rest of the podcast is going to be fire. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys soon.
So we're back. Thank you for that wonderful insight and analysis on the game of bowling. Now I want to get to my second hot take. I don't think this is that hot. I think like a lot of people are saying it, but I'm just gonna do it anyway. I think LaMelo Ball gets drafted number 1 overall and goes to the Warriors.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he's projected to go number 1 for sure, right? Like he's.
Yeah, I think 1 or 2. I mean, I think James Wiseman's like the only other guy who's really in that conversation. The guy from Memphis, but yeah, he's the only one who's being talked about. Like, have you seen his highlights in Australia?
A little bit, but I feel like Australian basketball is like very.
Well, yeah, it's not the NBA, but he's got. I mean, they don't play defense in other leagues, but
yeah.
Which either way, I don't think he's going to be a good defender to start out with. But
wait. I have a question actually. I always forget how the draft system works for the NBA. It's like a lottery, right? Like for like the first overall.
Yeah, but I think I don't exactly know the specifics of how it works, but I'm pretty sure like it's similar to the NFL in terms of if you have the worst record, you have better odds of getting the first seed. You won't get the first pick, but you'll have better odds. Yeah, I just think LaMelo on the Warriors would be nuts.
That would be okay. That would be weird, dude. Honestly, you know what's scary to me though? Like I was watching some interviews with Lonzo talking about how LaMelo is probably the most talented out of the 3 Ball brothers, and if he, oh my God, just imagining him on the Warriors, dude. That's gonna be scary if he actually turns out to be good.
Dude, I think he's the most talented of the Ball brothers, and I don't think it's close. Like, I think obviously LiAngelo's bust, but
well, isn't he in the G League right now?
I think he's on the Lakers G League.
Oh God.
He's not gonna make it into the NBA. I think he's only in the G League for like publicity purposes, maybe, but I don't think he has any skill. Lonzo's not bad. Don't get me wrong. I think he's
absolutely not. Yeah.
I think he's solid, but he's gonna be like a solid role player type guard. You know, he's never gonna be a superstar. I think he was drafted way too high, but I think LiAngelo could be a superstar.
Dude, LaMelo. People are saying LiAngelo Ball has like a 42-inch vert, and I don't believe that. Have you seen him try to dunk?
Dude, he's here. You know who he reminds me of?
What? Who?
A slightly skinnier Simbular.
Oh my God, Simbular. Hey, shout out, dude. You gotta shout out the only ever Indian player.
Shout out Simbular. We love Simbular here on Top of the Key. Yeah, so LaMelo Ball to the Warriors, I think that'd be fun, but LaMelo Ball is gonna be a monster. I think he's gonna be really good. He's crazy. He's so tall already. He's lots of skill. Tall guards are like obviously proven to be good. I see him as like he reminds me of Ben Simmons a little bit with the like height as a point guard.
Yeah. Same with like Kevin Durant. I feel like Durant plays like a guard a lot. You know, he likes holding the ball. He's that one tall, skinny dude who can shoot the ball extremely well. So
yeah. And he can shoot too. But moving on to we wanted to give a nice little tribute here to one of the best to ever do it, Hall of Famer. Definitely, I think there's no question
Absolutely.
he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But Vince Carter just retired after 22 years season, the only player to play 22 years. Played in 4 different decades, 8-time All-Star, probably one of the best, if not the best dunker of all time. Talk to me about Vince Carter, Nikhil.
First of all, yeah, I do think he's the greatest dunker of all time, and he was one of my favorite players to watch. I mean, I wish I could have like watched him more, but he was always so exciting to watch. He was always so explosive, and every time I think of him, I think about his dunk, USA versus France. Do you know what I'm talking about? Dunk over Frederick Weiss. I still think that was the best dunk of all time. He jumped over a player. It's something you see in the dunk contest, but he did it in a game. I don't know. He's obviously, like you said, 100% going to be in the Hall of Fame, and he's changed the game, a lot. Like for the dunk contest itself, it's hard to see anybody better than him. You see tributes to him paid every single year, so that really shows how influential he is. You know what I mean?
No, I mean you see great dunks in the dunk contest every year, but you never like Vince was really the first to do those types of crazy dunks, and it's sad to see him go, but also it's been a great ride to see him play over the years, and a little unfortunate that he was never able to win an NBA championship, but there's a lot of great players who haven't, and they still deserve all of our respect. So thank you to Vince Carter for everything that you've done for the game of basketball, and we're gonna miss you. But before we really get into like the games and the teams and what we think's gonna happen this season, there are a couple of big topics that I want to discuss a little bit. Moving back to kind of the social justice, Black Lives Matter movement, they said that the jerseys of players will be allowed to have some of these social messages on them, like "I can't breathe," or I don't know if they're allowed to put the names of the victims on their jerseys. I'm not sure, but this is a really interesting idea, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. But first, I think this is just like Adam Silver just hitting the nail on the head again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he's the greatest GM in like sports right now. He just I think there's going to be, I mean, if not all, the majority of players are going to use that. I'm happy that they're given a chance to have that platform. Even players that are not that big, they're going to be able to influence. This will be pretty insane. I think it's a great decision by Adam Silver overall, and you're going to see all players use that in a positive way.
Yeah, and I think it's another reason to play. I mean, there was so much talk a couple weeks ago with Kyrie, Dwight Howard, talking about how players should sit out of the season because it's going to distract from the movement. I don't think it'll detract from the movement at all. I think if anything, it'll help the movement grow even bigger, because there's a lot of players, a lot of fans that are going to be watching these games, and they're going to be seeing everything that's going on with the courts painted with Black Lives Matter and all these messages on the jerseys. I think, he's the best GM in sports right now, and and it's crazy because the NBA has a history of great GMs. David Stern was one of the best to ever do it, and then you have Adam Silver, and there's a lot these other leagues can learn from that.
Right. I think that's how that's one of the biggest differences between NBA and NFL, front office stuff. I mean, it feels like Adam Silver is definitely listening to the players. He's giving the players what they want, and he's allowing the players to use their place in the NBA to like I said, using that as a platform to talk about social issues. And a lot of times, these things are bigger than basketball itself, but at the same time, they're directly connected to it. Like you said about how it's not going to be a distraction at all. It's going to amplify it even more.
Absolutely. I think it's a definitely a way to unify people in and use the game of basketball for a bigger purpose. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. There's been a lot of questions about this. This is a shortened season, 3-month break. We're coming back after a long layover, and the games, every game is important now. Do you think there's going to be an asterisk on this season? Like a lot of people say there will not. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I feel like whenever people say like asterisk, there's usually like a negative connotation to it, right? As if something was like illegitimate, Like for example, we're talking about the Astros winning the World Series or something. Of course, that's going to be an asterisk in a negative way. So, I mean, if the asterisk is viewed as negative and illegitimate, then I think no, there won't be an asterisk, But if it's saying that like something's different, I mean, there'll be an asterisk in a sense that it's tougher for every team. You know what I mean? Like you see players talking about it, and I completely agree with them. They have this like huge break, and it's gonna make most of the teams stronger, in my opinion. Having all this time off, being able to rest, staying healthy for playoffs, because that's one of the biggest things you see every year. There's at least one or two big players that you see that they get injured, they're not going to be in the playoffs, or they're not going to be a big part of the team. And in that way, I think it's going to be a positive. But at the same time, like taking this break for an extended period of time, it might cause some concerns with like chemistry issues, working like within the team, like interior issues. But I don't think there'll be like a negative asterisk, I guess, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think I heard an opinion on this, and I think someone I knew said that there's definitely going to be an asterisk. The question is whether or not it's going to be positive or negative. There's obviously going to be an asterisk. Yeah, I think if a team wins, it's going to be positive for them. I think it's one of the toughest championships that they've had to play. Giannis said that it was going to be the toughest championship for teams to win. Because you don't know what's going to happen. Teams haven't played for a long time together. The chemistry's not there anymore. It'll be tougher to get back in such a short period of time. The momentum is gone. All the load management advantage that Kawhi and Paul George always have is not going to be there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take it from a different angle, just because I just want to be a contrarian, just because fuck it. But I just feel like when we had a lockout season like 10 years ago, I think it was like 2010, 2011. I can't remember which year, but it was obviously a shortened season. There was like 50 something games. But like when we look at that, we're like, oh, I think the Mavs won that season or something like that.
Right.
But we don't look back and say, oh, but they won in a lockout season. I think right now, if you look at it, it's gonna be like we look at it as, oh, this was the Corona hit season. It was a shortened season. But if you go 20 years down the road, like say the Lakers win a championship this year.
Yeah.
20 years down the road, LeBron's going to be remembered as a 4-time NBA champion. No one's going to say, oh, LeBron's a 4-time NBA champion, but his last championship was iffy because...
Okay, you know what? I kind of disagree with that. When it comes to LeBron James specifically, I feel like he's one of the most hated players, by fans. And I feel like if they lose, they're going to say like, oh, wow, he won it in a year where, it should have been easy, like the coronavirus thing happened. It should have been easier. But then if he wins, they'll be like you said, like, oh yeah, I mean, he won, but does it really matter? It was too easy, But I see what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron might have been a bad example there because everyone's going to scrutinize LeBron no matter what. But
of course,
I mean, yeah, I just I feel like when we look back on history, like there's so many things that were talked about back then that we don't necessarily give much weight. Like, look, I see it as LeBron's definitely the greatest of this era. I think Jordan's the GOAT, but I think we don't really look at that, and we've been able to really look at it because of the documentary that's come out. But the guy played baseball for 2 years, for like a year and a half, and then came back and won 3 more championships.
Right.
And like, I think there's an added weight to that of greatness. But we look back and say, oh, Jordan won 6 championships. You know, it's not like, oh, he won 3 and then he quit and then won 3 more. It's you know, that's the thing with stats and numbers. That's what we have to remember those times from. We don't remember the actual things that were going on at the time all the time. But I definitely understand what you're saying, and I'm just being a little bit of a contrarian. But I definitely think either way, I think that the NBA champion this year will be celebrated just like any other, and that's the important thing. As a sports fan, look, the last thing I'll say about this is I don't see any possible way where there can be a negative asterisk when sports fans and NBA fans are so excited for the league to come back and are dying to watch games happen because we want to see a champion crowned.
Right. I mean, I feel like, just going off of that, yeah, there'll definitely not be a negative asterisk. I mean, I was thinking about it at first and talking about how they're not letting all the teams compete, but honestly, like, it's not like it's early in the season. They played 65 games or something like that. I mean, that pretty much seals up at least the top 10. And
it's also, who wants to see the Knicks play the Warriors? Nobody wants to see that game.
Exactly. I mean, it's different for, I don't know, especially for the West. The top 7 teams have 40 wins, and the West has always been closer than the East.
Yeah. Yeah. I think 22 teams. They did it right. The formula that they had to bring teams back, I think they did it right. Every game is going to be pretty interesting. I mean, if the Suns have to play the Spurs, maybe I won't watch that game, but most of the games will be pretty fun to watch. I think it's just I don't know about you, but once the NBA comes back, I'm gonna be watching 4 games a day.
Watching every single game, honestly.
Yeah.
Every single game.
We haven't had it for so long. I'm gonna be watching all the games. Yeah. So I'm just excited for it to come back. I'm so hyped, and I know you are too.
Yeah, dude. I can't wait. Playoffs are gonna be so fun to watch this season.
It's gonna be a marathon, man, and kind of a sprint, honestly, more than a marathon, a sprint to the finish, and it's gonna be really fun to watch. Do you have a hot take for me?
Yeah. I was thinking about it as we were talking about this. This take, let me say first off, is one that goes beyond just this year. I was thinking about the top players in the NBA. When you brought up the GOAT situation, I was just thinking about who are the greatest players of this era, and one that comes to mind is James Harden. Arguably the greatest scorer of all time. And let me tell you, so this is my take, all right? I think that James Harden is never going to win a championship in his career, and I think he's going to be known as the best player ever to not win an NBA championship.
Okay, I love James Harden, by the way. I think he's my favorite player. Which and your take kind of goes against my my just general take that the Rockets are going to beat the Celtics in the NBA Finals this year. You missed it a couple weeks ago. I said James Harden's gonna average 35 to 40 throughout the playoffs, and Russell Westbrook's gonna average 15 assists.
Okay, yeah, I think we talked about this a while ago, but I don't know, man. You see Russell Westbrook leaving the Thunder, and then the Thunder become a better team than the Rockets. I believe that. I think that the Thunder are a better team than the Rockets right now.
No, I disagree with you because I think the Rockets are just kind of. I think the Rockets were a little streaky during the regular season. I think they know that they have a much better team personnel wise than they've had in recent years. They're just kind of taking it easy, I think. That's my take. I think once it gets to the playoffs, the Rockets are a much better team than the Thunder. I don't think it's that close.
Yeah, I can see that. Probably in a 7-game series style instead of regular season. I feel like the Rockets are going to be pretty solid. But every year we kind of see the same thing. I have high expectations for him. And don't get me wrong, I love James Harden. He's a great player. Like I said, I think he's probably the greatest scorer of all time, the greatest offensive player. But you see them always choke in the playoffs. You know what I mean? I always have high expectations, and they just lose when they should win so many easy games. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Yeah, yeah. What's up?
Well, okay. I see what you're saying, and I definitely think Harden has choked many years, but just looking at the last few years, you're going up against the Warriors, man. Like that's a incredibly tough tough team to go up against. One of the greatest teams to ever play. Like we give Harden so much shit, but like we don't talk about the opponents that the 90s Bulls have in the same. Maybe Malone and Stockton will come down on them a little hard, but look, like when you're going up against with like the great dynasties, it's tough to win. And that one year, a couple years ago, when they had that Game 7 and they missed 27 threes, yeah, that's on them. That's a tough way to lose. But
Dude, I needed them to win that game so badly. Oh my
but they also
god.
they were a Chris Paul-less Rockets team, and they were still close to beating the Warriors. I mean, I think if everything goes right, James Harden's going to be James Harden. And here's the thing that's different about this season. James Harden works so hard in the regular season. That's why he's always in the MVP conversation. He kind of runs out of steam during the playoffs. That's not going to be a factor as much this year. He's going to be well rested. He's skinny. He slimmed down a lot. Lost a lot of weight. And when he might feel a little tired and he's not having a great game or a great stretch, then you got Russell fucking Westbrook coming in, and he's gonna fucking steamroll everyone to the basket. I think talent wise, they're up there with the Lakers, Clippers, and the Celtics. I'll throw talent wise, but
yeah,
they're one of the best teams in the league.
I agree. I mean, I never really thought about it that way, but like when you mentioned how everyone's gonna be well rested, that's like the biggest thing. I feel like that's why I think this playoffs is gonna be closer than other years. There's going to be teams like, I don't know, like Utah, Pacers, who might like end up being pretty solid during the playoffs. And being well rested does make a huge difference. And I think, I don't know, we might see a team that surprises us and we haven't seen win like ever, or like an extremely long time win. Maybe like the Celtics. Maybe maybe it's the Rockets. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why this is going to be so fun to watch, dude. And with that being said, I want to really get into the meat of the season. I want to get into these teams, these games. Like looking at the games from the regular season, like the 8 games left. What big matchups really stand out to you between some of these top teams, or like that race for the 8th seed? Just what are you looking forward to the most?
So I remember at the beginning of the season, obviously the biggest talked about matchup was Lakers Clippers, right? Talking about like the big move to the Clippers. The Clippers have a stacked team, like it's there's no argument there. And they were talked about how it's going to be pretty much Lakers versus Clippers in the West. And being that, especially since it's like the first matchup, the first game since the virus hit, obviously I'm excited to watch that game, just to see how these teams have changed or have not changed, and to see if these two teams are still the best in the West, But I don't know, looking at the games, I think that's definitely the game to look at right now. It'll pretty much I can't say that the first games will pretty much like set in stone, like obviously like set in stone like the playoffs race or something like that, but I just want to see how the teams have changed,
Yeah. It's good. No, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see first night back. You got Clippers, Lakers.
Exactly.
Just to see how those squads both look like, what they both look like coming off of such a long stretch. I think that's why these scrimmage games that they're going to have they're going to be like very important. I don't know if we're going to be able to watch those scrimmage games. It'd be kind of cool to be able to do that, but I think they should be able to do that. But yeah, Lakers Clippers will be fun. But I think during those 8 regular season games, I think the real interesting ones are those the race for the 8th seed in the West.
Oh, yeah.
Those games. East I don't really care about too much. The Nets, Magic, Wizards. I really couldn't care less about those teams.
Pretty much first road exits right there, right?
I would prefer the Wizards in just because it'd be fun to see Bradley Beal put up like some crazy numbers.
Yeah.
But I mean, like Grizzlies, Blazers, Grizzlies, Pelicans. You got Pelicans, Kings. You know, I mean, I don't really have the Kings in the same conversation. I think it's like a race between the Grizzlies, Pelicans, and Blazers. But those three teams had like a lot of momentum when the season ended. They're gonna be really fun to watch, man. Ja Morant, Dame, Zion. Looking at those three teams and watching these games, which one do you think grabs that spot and comes out on top and really makes a big run?
Let me see. So I'm just looking at the standings right now because I guess the race for the 8th seed does matter a lot more in the West. I want to see Portland. Let's see. Yeah, I think the most important one is probably going to be Memphis versus Portland. You know, what are they, like 3 games off of the 8th seed right now? And I guess the system's changed though, right? Like, are they still looking at like the regular season standings? And
they're using the regular season standings, and so the Grizzlies are like 32-33, Blazers 29-37, Pelicans 28-36, Kings 28-36. It's all pretty close.
Right. Yeah, I want to see Portland do something with it. I mean, obviously, like you said, the Grizzlies are probably going to stay there with the 8th seed. I don't see them dropping too many games. I mean, I think they're clearly better than Portland and New Orleans, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, I have a soft spot for Portland, I guess.
I know. I think Portland's. I mean, dude, when we're talking Ja, Zion, Dame's like a guy with the most experience. He's done it before. He has 2 buzzer beater playoff series ending buzzer beaters that I don't think many people can say they've done that. The way I look at it is I don't think it matters if the Grizzlies end up with the 8th seed. I think they will because they're 3 games ahead. There's only 8 regular season games. It's tough to cover that amount in 8 games. But if the Blazers, Pelicans, or even Kings are less than four games or less behind, they'll have do a play-in game, and in that anything goes.
Wow, yeah, I mean, that'll be scary. That's why I think that, you know, obviously Damian Lillard, he's clutch, dude. In the playoffs, I think he's one of the best. He's had like great playoff series, like individually, I guess. Mm-hmm. Obviously against I'm still thinking of that shot last season, you know, on Paul George from like half court pretty much.
Hey, Paul George said it was a bad shot.
Yeah, I do remember that. He said it's a bad shot, but he made it. But I mean, dude, that's just like the mentality he had, you know. He's clutch. Like, I think he's one of the most clutch players in the NBA. So it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy.
I actually have the Pelicans. I have the Pelicans in. I think Zion's gonna have a monster comeback here.
Okay, let me ask you this about Zion. It's kind of like sidetracked, but like, I mean, recently you probably heard that he got put on the 2K cover, and he's played like less than half the season. Like, do you think he is overhyped right now? From like what we saw in the regular season so far and like the games that he played, do you think he's overhyped?
I don't think he's overhyped. I think it was extremely premature to put him on a cover for 2K. Yeah. I think you have to actually do something before you're on the.
Exactly. It's all like a marketing tool, I guess.
Yeah. No, definitely a marketing tool. I think he's one of the biggest stars without even having to play that much. But I don't think it's overhyped because I think he's going to be very soon, and I don't think it'll take that much time.
True. But I hear stories that I think is absolutely bullshit. That there's arguments that Zion is going to win Rookie of the Year over Ja Morant, and
no.
I think that's ridiculous.
No, I mean, Ja Morant has had an objectively better season.
Yeah. But there's people genuinely believe that Zion might win Rookie of the Year. And that, honestly, if it comes down to that, I mean, I'm going to hate it. You know, it's going to be another one of those, like talking about like Ben Simmons, for example. Like, it's almost like legitimate. It's like he hasn't even played the whole season. There's no way he should even be talked about for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, the sample size is so much larger, and when you look at it, like, look, it was like last year when we had the Doncic versus Trae Young conversation. Doncic obviously was the better player for the whole season, but Trae Young had a better like last 2-3 months. That last stretch from Trae Young was probably better than Doncic, but that doesn't mean Trae Young was the better player over the course of the season. When you're looking at the entire sample size, Doncic was the best player. Same thing with here. Zion played for a month, and for that month, he was really good. Doesn't mean Ja wasn't good that month. Ja was great still, but Ja played longer and played very well over the course of the season. And Ja has led his team to the playoffs. Ja has led his team to that 8th spot.
Absolutely.
Zion's been great, but the Pelicans are in that. But Pelicans have been in that conversation, that fringe playoff bubble, because they have other good players around them. Brandon Ingram's great. Lonzo's been playing well. Drew Holiday. I mean, Ja's had a better season. I think Zion's another beast, though. I looking forward to the future. I think he's just a beast. I think he's gonna come back and grab that playoff spot, though.
It'd be crazy to see the Pelicans do it. I mean, I'm rooting for them, honestly. They're so fun to watch, like you said, But did you know that JJ Redick has been in the playoffs every single season since he's been in the NBA?
No way.
Yeah, so he came in like 2006 season, and he's played in every single postseason. And he might be a lucky charm, dude. For the Pelicans, like.
He's no, he's good, dude. He's like he's the perfect type of guy you want on the Pelicans. You got like all these young guys who can just score, and then you got like fucking this old 3-point shooter that's just standing in the corner.
But
yeah, no, I think dude, the Pelicans have a very, very bright future. And if it doesn't happen this year, I think it's gonna happen next year. But these young teams, Memphis, New Orleans, and Dallas, all looking pretty good for the future. But you feel for Dame. You really want to see him succeed. It's tough to succeed in Portland.
Right. I feel like he's one of those like loyal players. I mean, I'm pretty sure he said that he doesn't really want to leave Portland. But I think again, we kind of talked about it earlier. About like players who are insanely good, but they're just not going to win the championship because of the team surrounding them. I mean, looking at like the bottom 4 teams even of both divisions, you see like that one big player that's like huge. But I feel like if they don't leave those teams, like it's the biggest one that comes to my mind is I guess Suns. What's his name?
Booker.
Yeah, Devin Booker. He's obviously like a great player. He's an all-star, but I don't think he's gonna win a championship unless he leaves Phoenix. I don't see Phoenix like making their way up the standings anytime soon.
Well, yeah, that's the thing with Phoenix, though. The poor front office management. He's still young. He's like 24. I want to say he's super young, and like he might go to. There's talk of him going to Minnesota, which I mean they're not really going anywhere either. But,
That'd be a downgrade, yeah.
But it would be a Cat Booker D'Lo combo, which could be insane too. But
yeah, it's sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying it's like the way I see it, a lot of these guys are just young guys who don't know how to win yet. It's not that It's not that they don't have the team. They don't have the team. Don't get me wrong, but when you want your team to build around you, you need to be the type of player to at least be I think if you want to take your game to the next level, you have to single-handedly be able to at least get your team to the playoffs. And that's what these great guys can do. Guys like Harden can single-handedly put his team in the playoffs. Guys like Steph can do it if need be. LeBron's done it so many times. So, yeah, that's what I see from these young teams. They don't really have the drive. Their young players don't have the drive yet to do it. They don't know how to get it done.
Right. And that's kind of what kind of disappointed me. Going back to Damian Lillard, I don't think that he needs to leave Portland to win a championship. I just feel like, I don't know, especially for this season, I think if they can get into playoffs, they might make it. I think they're going to win. Actually, I don't know. I can't say that, bro. Oh, I was going to say they're going to win the first round, but it's tough. They perform well in playoffs compared to like regular season. I think they can play better when it comes to playoffs.
Well, here's the thing. I'll tell you this. If they grab that 8th seed,
yeah,
that first round is no cakewalk for the Lakers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like that's gonna be like one of the toughest first round series for a 1 seed that you'll see. No, that's like, and anything can happen when you got Dame. I don't think they'll win the series, of course not. But They could snatch a couple games and make things interesting.
I think the West is going to be crazy.
Well, speaking about that, let's talk predictions. I want to get like which teams are you really looking at in the West and the East in the conference finals? Like how do you think the playoffs are going to play out?
Oh man, like I said, it's tough to say. There's so many teams that are good. I mean, let's start with the East though. I feel like, in my personal opinion, I think there's be more like competitive or more unexpected things that could happen when it comes to the Western Conference. But in the East, teams to look at. Toronto's really surprised me this season, like the regular season. They've got a stacked team. Even looking at last season, I don't think Kawhi like carried them in any way. Of course he made them like better, but I don't think he was a difference maker.
Not at all.
So teams to look at in the East. Let's see. I feel like eight versus one. I mean, Milwaukee's probably going to win regardless of who it is. Who's it? Washington, Orlando, Brooklyn. I mean, regardless, it's not even going to be close. I think that might be like a first round sweep for the Bucks. But then after that, it's when it kind of gets tough. Like right now, the Sixers are sitting at number 6, and anywhere from like Sixers, Pacers, Miami, they're all looking pretty solid. It's hard to predict who's going to go through there. That's why I think, one of my hot takes from earlier is that the Bucks might lose in the second round. There's like so many strong teams. The one team, I don't know about Indiana, but I know Miami and the Sixers they're not an easy team to beat. They've got depth. They've got like obviously the big name players. They got solid defenses. People who can stop Giannis. I mean, especially for it's hard to stop Giannis, first of all. But like the Sixers, I mean, if Embiid's healthy, I feel like that's a matchup to watch. So if we're talking conference championship, I don't know. I got to stick with my hot take. So I don't think the Bucks are going to go that far. So I think it's going to be Celtics, obviously Celtics, and maybe. I guess I don't know how the bracket's going to look, but I really want to see Miami or Toronto up there again. But who knows? I think the Sixers are going to have good playoffs too. So let's go with Celtics Sixers if that works out in the Eastern Conference Finals.
If that works, yeah. I mean, right now they'd be slated to play the Sixers in the first round, but if the Sixers move up to that 5 seed, then they could definitely play them in the NBA Finals.
I think Pacers have had I feel like Pacers in the past, I don't want to say they choked in the playoffs because I feel like they played LeBron every season, right?
Well, I'll tell you this about the Pacers. They're going to struggle this year. Oladipo's not going to be in the bubble. He's not playing. But the Pacers, look, the thing with the Pacers is they're very, very well coached. They play very hard. They hustle. But they don't really have any star talent right now. I think that'll prohibit them from really moving that far in the playoffs. But they're always going to be a tough team to play. They always play hard.
The thing with like regular season is though, talking about Victor Oladipo, I mean, they didn't get where they are because of him. Obviously he's been injured most of the season, and they're still doing pretty solid. I wish we could see him play, but yeah, I mean, they're still a tough team to beat.
No, yeah. Sabonis has been great for them this season. I was saying Vic could give them a boost if need be in a playoff in a playoff series. I don't think they have the team yet by any means to really contend. But look, I love the Raptors. I just think yes, Kawhi didn't single-handedly win it for them last season. They had so many pieces around him. They have tremendous depth. Siakam's kind of risen up to the best player on the team. He was the most improved player last year. Kyle Lowry might be one of the most underrated players in the league. I think he's incredible.
Dude, yeah. Siakam kind of surprised me. I didn't think it was going to be as huge as it was, but even last season, I think he was more important than Kawhi for sure.
He was very important. He was so good, and but the line I draw there is that look, the Raptors haven't changed much other than Kawhi leaving. It's just that I don't see Siakam stepping into the role that Kawhi had last year and filling that gap. I don't think he can be I think he's a star and he's going to be a big star. I don't think he's there yet in terms of he can take the ball. You can put the ball in his hands at the end of every playoff game and expect him to make shots. I think he'll do it, but I don't think he's going to be able to consistently do it and win you those big series.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. I mean, I feel like obviously they're a well-coached team. They've got depth, they've got a great system. There's a lot of role players that they need, for like every successful team. I feel like you can't put up like five guys who want to keep the ball in their hand. They need those role players. And there's a lot of people that surprise me, like Van Vliet, for example, insane shooter, insane defensive player. And I don't know. I'm looking at the standings again, but yeah, who knows, man? They could make another playoff run, win it back-to-back. That'd be insane, but
I wouldn't put it past it. Yeah, back-to-back Raptors would be
my God, that'd be insane.
Crazy. That would kind of be, to me, that would be a little reminiscent of the bad boy Pistons. Just like a tough team.
Yeah.
They just play hard every night. Looking at the West, I'm gonna give you mine first, and I'll let you go. I have the Lakers and the Rockets in the Western Conference Finals. I think the Rockets take out the Clippers in round 2, and they take out the Lakers in round 3, and then they take out the Celtics, who I said I was going Celtics Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I think the Celtics are over the Bucks. But yeah, I believe in Houston.
I won't put it past it. Honestly, dude, like if that happens, that's going to be so exciting to watch. It's going to catch people off guard, and oh man, like that's why I want to talk the East first, because the West, in my opinion, is going to be more exciting. It's just there's so many teams that it's hard to predict which ones you're going to see.
If James Harden won a championship, though, the basketball world would go crazy. I think that would be one of the coolest things we could ever see.
Oh my goodness, yeah. But who knows, man? Like if every single team is stacked. Like single team is good. They're gonna be well rested. Like looking at Nuggets, like looking at 3, 4, and 5. Nuggets, Jazz, Thunder, Rockets. I mean, they're all insane teams that have been solid for a couple years. There isn't one of those teams that's having like. Actually, I don't know. I feel like OKC. I'm surprised they made it. They're number 5 right now. That surprised me a lot. I thought they would be like not even making playoffs after they lost Westbrook. But I guess
they've been the biggest surprise of the season.
Yeah. But I think Lakers are going to be a clear front runner. That's my opinion. I think they're going to be in the conference finals with I don't know. I really want to say Mavericks because I love the Mavericks. I don't know. Maybe I just love Doncic, but
I love the Mavs.
Man.
The Mavs remind me a little bit of like a poor man's Rockets. Like Luka right now Luka reminds me of a poor man's James Harden. Like cannot play defense for the life of him. And dude, he's also like I hear he's put on a lot of weight. I hear he's like very out of shape.
Right. That surprised me, honestly. You know what? Also, speaking of like people like losing weight or gaining weight, the Nuggets, Jokic, dude, he looks like freaking Porzingis right now. Have you seen his pictures?
I haven't seen his pictures, but I heard he lost a lot of weight. But he also got the coronavirus.
Yeah, true. But okay, sidetrack talking about tennis a little bit. You hear that he was hanging out with Djokovic, right? Yeah, they both got the virus.
Yeah, dude. I actually I was on my power ranking segment last week. I had Serbian COVID regulations on there because it's really not looking great for them.
That's hilarious. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, one thing that made the Nuggets stand out or made them like made a difference was like Jokic's size. Honestly, it might make a difference. Like, I mean, sure, he's in better shape. He's lost a lot of weight, but is that a bad thing in some ways? Because I feel like a lot of times, you need size in the paint, and that's something that you don't really see like too many traditional centers these days. And without that size, it might be tougher. I mean, I don't know. Like literally though, he looks like Porzingis. He's like tall, skinny, like extremely skinny.
Well, the thing with Jokic though that makes him different. Where I see I actually see this being a positive for Jokic in terms of some of the other centers that need a lot of size. I think with Jokic, I think you could actually switch him to like power forward now too. I agree
actually. Yeah.
But he's going to be faster. He's going to be able to jump a lot higher. Just more athleticism. And the difference is he's not one of those centers that just backs down another guy and scores. He's a skilled center. He can shoot the ball. He's probably the best passing center in the league.
Yeah, 100%.
Like triple double machine. So at the end of the day, I see this as a plus because he's not the type of guy who's just like a strength type of player. He's skilled.
I feel like the reason I say that is because like team wise, like for sure individually, it's definitely a positive. You know, a lot of times like in fourth quarter situations, like late end in the game, you can see him struggling. You know, like stamina getting up and down the court. He gets tired, and you can really see that, and that obviously it's going to help with that. But the one reason I feel like it may be a negative, maybe it's a stretch when I say it, but like the Nuggets don't really have a lot of size, right? Like just looking at their players, like Jokic, Jamal Murray, Mike Porter Jr., Gary Harris.
Do you not believe in Mason Plumlee?
Okay, Mason Plumlee, he's more of a power forward than a center, right? I feel like they actually don't have centers. I mean, maybe that's just the NBA these days. There's like no centers on the teams.
No, I mean, I think Jokic and Plumlee are supposed to be their centers. They definitely don't have too much size. If Jokic losing weight from a size perspective, like defensively probably hurts them a little bit.
Yeah.
But it also you can move up and down the court a lot faster, fourth quarter situations, and you know like from that perspective, you know you can probably offensively. From a speed perspective, it's going to help him get past other centers. You know, it's one of those things. Like Porzingis has played center and he's played it to some success. So
well, I mean, I feel like I don't know. Like when we say he's played as a center, I feel like you don't really see him in the paint, like only in the paint the whole game. You know, like the only traditional center that can come to my mind right now is like what's his name on the Thunder?
Steven Adams.
Steven Adams.
Gobert too, maybe.
Yeah, like players who don't really hold the ball too much, like the traditional pick and roll system, pretty much averaging like 13, 14 rebounds a game. That's like the traditional center. But I feel like Porzingis is the type of player that likes to hold the ball a lot, likes to be out in the paint. He's a solid 3-point shooter. So I mean, sure, they could be like an acting center, but I feel like the role of the center has changed a lot.
I think if Jokic puts on a lot of muscle, that would really help. Because like, look, Steven Adams, he's not exactly like big. He's like he's a little slimmer too. It's just he has a lot of muscle. He's like he's
strong as fuck. Yeah,
he's very strong. But yeah, he's gonna be really good. I mean, the Thunder could be pretty good. I just think they're young. Obviously, Chris Paul has that veteran presence on that team, but I'm just so excited for basketball to be back, man.
Imagine if the Thunder, even if they go to like the conference finals. Actually, going to the conference finals is a stretch, but if they go to the conference finals, dude, what a season that would be for them. Like, imagine losing your franchise player. You're like your best player, arguably, that the Thunder have ever had. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because KD and James Harden. No, but still, like, imagine losing your best player for the year and then performing better. Like, what if OKC performs better than Houston this season? Like, what if they go to the conference finals? That would be a huge success for them.
That would be the biggest fuck you to Russell Westbrook in the world.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I kind of would hate it if the Thunder got that far. I don't want to see the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. I don't want to see West Finals and get all hyped for it. It's Lakers Thunder.
Yeah. Oh my God, no. Do you know what it reminds me of? So the season that the Mavericks won, that was not like a big name. Like that wasn't like a strong, like a huge team by any means, right? I still don't think they should have won that season.
No, it was a surprise for sure.
Yeah, like that's what the Thunder remind me of right now. You know, like have that like the veteran, you know, like Chris Paul, who I still think that he's not going to win a championship. Unfortunately, he's one of my favorite players, best point guard. You know, actually, I don't know. I think Chris Paul he's definitely one of the best point guards in the league, like ever. And
yeah,
it'll be crazy.
It definitely would. Finally, though, before we end this part, I just want to get your NBA Finals. Who wins it? Finals MVP.
So I guess kind of going on with the hot take I had earlier, I think it's going to be Lakers Celtics. I think that's going to be a great matchup. LeBron has struggled playing against the Celtics in the past. A bunch of close series. So I think the Lakers are going to come out on top, though. I think it's going to go to 7 games, and I think LeBron's going to take home MVP. It'll just be like the perfect situation for him, I guess. He obviously, like you said, best player of our era. He has an MVP caliber season every single season. Even if he doesn't win it, he's probably top 2, top 3 every season.
Okay, so if it was Lakers Celtics, I would also pick the Lakers to win, but I would pick it. I would say I think that would be like a 7-game series. I think that would be an amazing series, 6 or 7 games at least. But I think Anthony Davis would win Finals MVP.
It's hard to say, dude. Obviously, AD is, dude. He's actually insane. I can't believe people haven't been talking about him for like the last few years, but he's probably top 5 players in the NBA. I think he's overlooked a lot.
No, definitely, and he's been great. He's just situation with the Pelicans wasn't favorable for anyone. He's had injuries in the past, of course, but I think this situation for him in Los Angeles is perfect. With LeBron, who knows how to play with him, who knows really how to play with anyone. But it's perfect. And but I'm going Rockets over Celtics. So in 7 games, James Harden wins this. This is definitely a little bit of what I want to see more than what I think is going to happen.
But I think people are really sleeping on the Rockets here.
I don't think they're sleeping on them, dude. I just feel like, okay, listen, that would be insane to watch too. I mean, of course, the Lakers lose. I mean, I guess I am a LeBron fan, but even if they lose, if it is Rockets Celtics in the finals, that is going to be so fun to watch. I feel like I don't even need to root for either team. It's just going to be incredibly fun to watch.
Dude, it would be like a small ball battle.
Yeah, dude. Oh man.
But yeah, that it's gonna be fun, dude. I can't wait for basketball to be back. Like, we're getting closer and closer. Only a few more weeks now.
Yeah, seriously. I'm seriously gonna be watching every single game.
Yeah, no, same here. I do want to get to my third hot take. This is moving back a little bit into NFL territory. Well, actually, this is an NFL take, so fully into NFL territory. Antonio Brown will be playing in the league next year.
Oh man. Okay. First of all, dude, I don't know if any organization wants to deal with him right now. He's like, I don't know. I feel like obviously he's one of the best receivers in the league, if not the best. Top 3, top 4 while he was playing. But okay, why do you say that though? Like, who do you think would want to pick him up, and where would he succeed?
Good chance. There's a chance Seattle picks him up. I mean, he's been seen like he's been working out with Russell Wilson a lot. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything in terms of getting signed by the team.
Right.
And yes, I know this is obviously people would say like this is a weird time for Antonio Brown to be signed with everything going on in the world for social justice in terms of not just Black Lives Matter, but people are also talking about other issues like sexual assault and all that, and obviously Antonio Brown's name gets intertwined in that conversation.
Right.
But I think when you look at the NFL is a league where they're doing stuff for Black Lives Matter now because it's what people want them to do, and it's if they don't, it makes them look bad. I think that's really the only reason they're doing anything. That's been what the NFL's stance has been on these types of issues for years. They have a history of signing players and giving players a second chance who have done questionable things in the past or even allegedly have done questionable things in the past. There's so many cases with that. I think if Ray Rice really wanted to play again, he would have had an opportunity like a couple years after that happened. And I think that's just the story of the NFL. I mean, you look at Kareem Hunt. Like he gets another opportunity as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think when you have an opportunity to win, teams don't care as much about all the other stuff that's around it. I think locker room issues could be a thing, but when you have the talent of Antonio Brown, I just feel like there's some team out there that's going to take the bait on it and not really look at some of the other issues around him.
I don't know. It's tough to say that. I mean, I mostly agree with you, but you see players like, I don't know, I bring up Colin Kaepernick for obvious reasons. You know, obviously he has the talent. You know, I think he can be a starter in this league. You know, he could have been for the last few years, and there's obviously he has those issues surrounding him. But it's weird because the players are supporting him. You know, you see the majority of players supporting Colin Kaepernick, but it's basically usually the front office of like any team or like some sort of like political reasons that they don't pick him up. And we might see something similar with Antonio Brown in particular. I mean, I feel like he messed up his own career. He was one of my favorite players to watch, but he pretty much got himself kicked off a bunch of teams. You know, whether that was, you know, like you said, locker room issues or other issues outside of the field. But obviously, he can succeed anywhere he goes. He's one of the best receivers in the league. So.
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming from when you say like all the players are supporting Colin Kaepernick and all that. And I think some team will give Colin Kaepernick a shot. I think the Chargers are a prime destination for him. But the NFL's never been a players type of league. You know, it's never been a for the players league. The NBA has always been a player driven league. NFL's never been like that. They're all about the money. And you know, the political statements and and all that, like there's a history of the NFL can be forgiving to the worst types of people, but not forgiving to people who make a political statement about something that actually is important. You know,
I was just about to say that. You know, like that's crazy to me. I feel like they're prioritizing the wrong things. You know.
Yeah. And it's sad, but. You know, hopefully things are going to change. I think actually Roger Goodell has handled everything that's happened this year decently well. Which is surprising to say because it's Roger Goodell, but
right.
But he hasn't done too poorly in my mind. But we're almost done. We're going to wrap things up pretty soon, and we want to finish off the show with I think the best part of the show, which are the power rankings. So Nikhil's going to help us read some of these off. So give me number 10.
All right, number 10 of the power rankings is the Washington Redskins, and in parentheses, shame.
Yeah, dude, we got to change the name.
Yep.
And they also are a really bad football team.
I think the Redskins need to change a lot on and off the field.
Yeah, Dwayne Haskins, the Redskins legend. Biggest bust. Yeah, they're pretty bad. Hopefully they change the name soon, and then they can start working on their on-field issues. But you know, Ron Rivera is a good coach. You know, so.
I mean, we've seen him do well at Carolina for a while. You know, looking forward, I think he's a great coach. But I feel like the Redskins have a long way to go, or the Red Wings, or the Jeffersons, Senators, maybe.
The president. I love the presidents. Just go right for it.
Oh man.
All right, number 9. We had a little bit of bowling content in this episode, so we thought we'd do number 9. Gutter balls. They fucking suck. You ever bowl and you get a bunch of gutter balls and it's the worst.
Hey, it seems like you have a lot of experience with that, man. I remember bowling with you back in the day. You know, a bunch of family bowling outings. Cy plays with the little bumpers, by the way.
I used to play when I was with the bumpers when I was younger. Now I'd say I'm decent. You know, you gotta have the right ball in your hands. You can't. The size has to be right. The fingers have to fit properly. It's so much that goes into the game. Give me number 8.
Number 8, Draymond Green. Cy, why is Draymond Green on this list right now?
Draymond Green is on this list because Draymond Green is in my top 5 greatest NBA players of all time. And let me tell you, So I've been slow rolling these names out. I gave number 1 and 2 in previous power rankings. Number 1 was Dennis Rodman, and number 2 last week I said was Ron Artest. I said Meta World Peace, but Ron Artest, they're both the same person. Next week I'll be releasing number 4, and the week after that I'll be releasing number 5. I think the greatest NBA players are the ones who play with the fundamentals, good defense, good rebounding. I don't like all these young players who like to just shoot threes all over the place and forget the fundamentals of the game, which is good defense, good rebounding, good passing.
Okay.
Draymond Green, 3rd greatest player of all time in my book.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll let that one slide.
I'm gonna number 7. We got Nikhil Kanukolanu. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's been a pleasure having you on, and I've really enjoyed all your takes. It's been fun just going back and forth with you.
Anytime, man. I'm so glad you let me do this. I feel like just talking about sports is always fun with you, man. So thanks for letting me on the show.
Absolutely, and we'd definitely love to have you back when sports are actually happening. I think that's when I think that's when the podcast will really pick up. I think we'll have more than 10 fans.
Hey, I've watched a few episodes, man. Some of them get long, but I've watched most of them, so I'm definitely one of them.
Well, this one's getting a little long too. But give me number 6.
Number 6, torn ACLs. They're never fun. Very gruesome, which is why it's only number 6.
Yeah, it can't be higher than number 6. We'd lose our sponsors. Yeah, they're never fun, man. You hate to see a player go down with the torn ACL.
Oh man, it's like Kevin Durant, dude. Speaking of Kevin Durant though, like, do you think that he possibly could have come back? I know we said that he didn't want to. He just wanted to be fully rested. But do you think if he came back, the Nets would be a contender?
I won't go serious contender, but they could make some noise. They could win a series. Right now, they're projected. They'd be number 7 right now. They'd play the Raptors.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd win that series, but they could push it to a few games. I think Kevin Durant could have played, and I think he could have played at a high level. But I understand why he wants to rest. It makes sense. I think once him and Kyrie come back next year, they're going to be a very strong team.
Yeah.
And my most hated team. I don't like both of those guys.
Dude, it kind of reminds me of if Kevin Durant somehow came back this season and just won the championship. It reminded me kind of like Nick Foles or something. Not playing at all during the regular season. It just shows up during the playoffs and just plays his ass off. That'd be insane. I really wanted to see him come back.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it would be kind of dumb if he came back now. It's I don't like the idea of players who would have missed the entire season coming back for this little stretch in time, and
right.
Yeah, but yeah, it would be it would have been cool to see. I think he would have had the ability to definitely come back. Number 5, I'm gonna go scandals. We recently saw, right when Cam got signed by the Patriots, we heard that the Patriots got once again fined for a December incident where they once again filmed the Bengals during a game. Spygate 2.0, you could say. The Patriots have a history of scandals with Spygate, Deflategate, all these gates. But scandals, they're never good, but they might help you win. They might help you win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Patriots are. Wait, did they have how many scandals did they have, dude? I kind of want to look that up. Other than Deflategate.
Other than Deflategate, they had. I mean, they've gotten in trouble at least a couple times for filming teams.
So dumb, dude. They get away with so much shit.
They get away with so much shit, but I will say, I wouldn't be surprised if other teams did it too, and we just are more. We're anything the Patriots do, people are always going to keep an eye on. So.
Yeah, I feel like at this point you're right. Yeah, they're just gonna have a flag above them, regardless of what they do. There's probably a lot of teams that get away with filming, filming teams, but They have a target on their back for sure.
Yeah.
Give me number 4.
Number 4, David Aldridge. Wait, David Aldridge is the writer?
Yeah, the Hall of Fame reporter David Aldridge. You know the guy who like always he's on court for the TNT games.
Right. Yeah.
They're always like, let's send it on court to Hall of Famer David Aldridge. I always remember whenever we're playing 2K.
Yeah,
like
2K.
They always go like, it's like Shaq and Kenny, and they're like, and Ernie, and they're like sending it out to Hall of Famer reporter David Aldridge. And it's always that's always what they say. But yeah, he always has good analysis, I think. Number 3 is the I think now 13-time Nathan's hot dog eating contest champion.
Oh man,
Joey Chestnut.
I'm glad you put him on this list. I was actually doing a lot of following of the food community recently. I have no idea why, but he set a new record, 75 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
75 in 10 minutes. That's absurd.
Dude, I don't know if you guys have like seen videos of like hot dog eating competitions, but it gets insane, you know.
I'm pretty sure like I don't think like he just had like a crazy lead too. Like I don't think it was necessarily close. Like I've seen like there's like an ESPN video of like the science behind it. Like it's very cool. Like you guys should all check it out. But like it's him talking about like how exactly he trains his body to be able to digest that much food.
Yeah, dude. Wait, have you heard of Matt Stoney, the other competitive eater?
No, I don't. I'm not a huge follower of the competitive eating sport.
Hey, if I had a 4th hot take, I would say that competitive eating is on the rise, and Joey Chestnut is up there.
He's one of the greats to ever do it.
Absolutely.
Give me number 2.
Number 2, Sai, you put yourself on this list. Sai, Bala Patriots. What do you have to say about that? Why number 2? Why not number 1?
Well, I'm humble, you know.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I'm also an icon to the children who are watching this and, you know, are desperate for any type of sports content. All these young kids, they want to watch sports so badly that they turn to me to tell them everything that's going on in the world of sports. And they just get really excited and influenced. I'd say I'm an influencer.
Gotcha. Yeah, the social influencer.
Yeah.
But number 1, obviously, I have to leave it off. I had it on there last week, and I'm gonna have it on here this week again because he deserves 2 spots at number 1. Vince Carter, again, thank you so much for everything you've done. Absolute legend and a hero to all of us.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss him, bro.
So that was the top 10. I always like to give a couple off of my top 10, couple that didn't make it in the top 10. So at number 2,634, we've got old Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. You know, he was this guy was in cohorts with Adolf Hitler. Not a great guy in my estimate.
Not at all.
I don't really care for the guy. You know, he did some pretty terrible things, and you know, and not many guys below him, if I say so myself. But
he deserves a shout out, right? He deserves a shout out.
Yeah, he does deserve a shout out. But right below him at number 2,635, ladies and gentlemen, you guessed it, it's J.R. Smith.
Oh man, I'm glad you put him on this list, man. J.R. Smith. What's good to say about him? I'm kind of at a loss for words.
It's hard.
It's tough.
It's tough to come up with good things to say. But you know, I'll give him a shot. He's back in the league. He's playing for the first time, I think, since the incident.
And ironically, surprisingly, it's with the same teammate who probably had a say in allowing him to join the Lakers.
Probably also had a say in why he hasn't played in 2 years too.
Oh man.
So once again, I just want to thank Nikhil for coming on today. We had a great we had a great time talking today about sports, and we're just so excited for sports to be back. I also want to give a big shout out to my good friend Niamh for her very insightful bowling segment that we had today. And who knows, if you want more bowling, just let me know and we'll have some more bowling on. Again, if you like what you see, like the video, subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, leave me your comments, and let me know what you think. And we'll be back next week for episode 8. Thank you guys so much, and have a great rest of your night.